All right, all of our mediums are live streaming now. We got YouTube as well as Facebook live right now. How's everyone doing this evening? Good? All right, it's Shabbos. I realized we had turned up the volume once again on this mic, so I'll make it a little bit more distant from my face. All right, good Shabbos, everyone. We're going to start our service on page 6 of our Sidurims, page 6 of our Sidurims with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei El Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamachim HaKadosh Baruch Boechem l'shalom, malachei ha'shalom, malachei el elyon. Mi melech malachei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barhuni l'shalom, malachei ha'shalom, malachei el elyon. Mi melech malachei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei el elyon. Mi melech malachei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 7, we're going to be lighting our Shabbos candles. Our candles have already been lit, but we're going to be saying the brachas. Pam, would you like to say the blessings on page 7?
Sure.
Great.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat.
May its radiance illuminate our hearts.
Light is the symbol of the divine.
The eternal is my light and my salvation.
Light is the symbol of the divine within us.
The human spirit is the light of the eternal.
Light is the symbol of the divine law.
For the mitzvah is a lamp and the Torah a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission.
I, the eternal, have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat joy.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat peace.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat holiness.
Amen. Shkoyach, shkoyach. Good job, good job. We're going to now turn to page 9 of our Siddurim for Lecha Dodi. Page 9 of our Siddurim for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela aha lecha Dodi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela aha shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad. Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem multiferet v'litzilah, Lechai doidi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela Lechai doidi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu b'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesuka sof ma'asa b'machsha tehila lechai doidi likrat kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lechai doidi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela ori kiva orech kumi ori shir daveri kavod Adonai alai nehila lechai doidi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela lechai doidi likra kala yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela. Now we now rise and face the entrance or exit of our synagogue as we welcome in the Shabbos bride. Boi b'shalom atzeret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Toch emune am sivula boi kala le chaydoi di kala yereda pene Shabbat nikavela le chaydoi di kala yereda pene Shabbat nikavela. We remain standing now for the Hatzikadish on page 11. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabban Be'almadi rakirutev yanik malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yoymechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'yameru amen Yehei shmei rabba mivorach Le'olam yolome almaya Yitbarach, vayishtabach, vayitbar, vayitrama, vayitnaseh, vayitadar, vayitaleh, vayitalal, shemei l'kudashah b'rehu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma, v'yemeru, amen. Remain standing for the Baruchu on page 12. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. We turn now to page 13. Together we'll read the English. Eternal God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aruvim. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who brings on the evening. Turn now to page 14, together at the bottom of the page. With eternal love you love your people, the house of Israel. Torah and commandments, statutes and judgments have you taught us. Therefore, O Eternal our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will discuss your statutes and rejoice in the words of your Torah and your commandments forever. For they are our lives, and they lengthen our days, and we will meditate upon them day and night. May you never remove your love from us forever and ever. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who loves your people Israel. Page 13 will join together for the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated for the V'ahavta on page 16. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzalecha hayom alevavecha v'shinatan levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'letecha b'derech u'shalchbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam le'ot al-yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mizuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem eko mitzvotai v'hitem kiroshim lelolechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 17 will join together for the responsive reading. Eternal truth is that you alone are our God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exalt in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares.
Let them beat spears and pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation. Let them study war no more.
You shall not hate another in your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Let the stranger be in your midst, to you as the native, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt.
From the house of bondage you went forth to freedom, so let all be free to sing joy.
Page 18 will join together from Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Ba'alim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bai Kodesh, Nora Teilot Osei Felen, Malchutecha Ra'u Banecha Bokiam Lifnei Moshe Ze Eli Anu V'Amru Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed V'ne'emar Ki farad Adonai et Yaakov U'g'lo miyad hazak mimenu Baruch Ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 19 will join together for the responsive reading. Cause us, O eternal our God, to lie down in peace and to awaken us each morning to renewed life with strength. Spread over us the holy shelter of your peace.
Help us to order our lives by your counsel, and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protecting us from hate and war, from pestilence and sorrow.
Curb also within us the inclination to do evil, and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going out and our coming into life from this time forth forever.
Blessed are you, O Eternal, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all God's people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Page 20 will join together for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat le'dor et ha-berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat le'dor et ha-berit olam. B'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat le'dor et ha-berit olam. Ki sheit yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat le'dor et ha-berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat le'dor et ha-berit olam. We now rise for the Amidah prayer. The Amidah prayer will be found on page 21. Tefillah begins on page 21. Adonai sefatai titachu fi yagita hilatecha, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot V'imachot, Umevi Geula Lifnei V'nechem, Laman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai, Mechayim Etim Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiva Ruach U'Morida Geshem, Mekalkel Hayim Bechesed, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומדון מלך ממית, ומחיי, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושם הקדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We'll daven silently until page 29, and there we will join together for Oseh Shalom. We'll join together for Oseh Shalom on page 29. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yemeru, amen. Sorry, to be able to see. Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. So in last week's Torah portion, we read about how Jacob fathered many children and would guide the genealogy of the Jewish people moving forward. Yet this week we return to Jacob and Esau's relationship once again. After fleeing from his brother, Jacob again returns to the Holy Land after a 20-year-long stay in Haran, and Jacob there meets Esau, and they embrace, they kiss, and part ways in this week's Torah portion. In a way, they find a way of reconciling themselves and their familial struggles in this week's Torah portion. Our Torah reading concludes with a detailed account of Esau's wives, children, and grandchildren, and the family histories of the people of Seir, amongst whom Esau settles, and the list of 8 kings who will rule Edom, the land of which Esau and Seir's descendants will inhabit. Our Torah reading of this week is one of the more challenging parshiot of our Torah, and that's because our Torah describes one of the most classical scenes of our Torah, and that is the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. The angel has been interpreted to reflect Esau, and many rabbis have tried to draw meaning and understanding of the text differently to circumnavigate the very profound confusion of this week's powerful scene. We most often study rabbis and their interpretation of the text, but today I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'd like to draw our attention to some of the artwork that describes this powerful scene in this week's Torah portion. Artists contribute a powerful commentary to the text that we read of this week. Recall first, though, the first literary text of our parsha, and that begins in Genesis 32, verses 4 through 7, where Jacob returns to the land of Israel with the hope of reconciling with Esau. Esau, according to an account then told by Jacob's angel, had no interest in reconciling. Then in Genesis chapter 32, verses 25 through 33, Jacob encounters the character we remember of this scene best, either as an angel or a spirit that has embodied Esau, of whom he will wrestle until daybreak. During the struggle, Jacob suffers a dislocated hip, and he will ultimately win out in the struggle. He then is bestowed upon the name of Israel by the angel. Rabbis for a very long time have questioned and interpreted this text very differently from one another. But something I've always found very fascinating is how this scene has been depicted in artwork. In a way, they have offered a visual midrash of the text. For instance, Rembrandt painted this scene in 1659 in one of his most famous pieces entitled Jacob Wrestles with the Angel. The piece is fascinating because it depicts Jacob and the angel not in a hostile struggle, but rather in a loving embrace of one another. Art historians have long interpreted the piece to reflect a commentary by Rembrandt that the angel is in fact a canonized image of Jacob's mother, Rebekah. The struggle is a loving embrace between mother and son as reflected by the artist. Other artists have offered other similar useful commentaries and draw attention to Jacob's wife, Rachel. Art commissioned during the same period from Eugene Delacroix appeared to show Jacob and the angel in the embrace of lovers. The embrace described and shown by Delacroix is understood by art historians to be a commentary not only of the scene but also of Jacob and Rachel's love and fidelity. The scene is also picked up upon by Jewish artists. Jewish artists such as Elisheva Ness and Marc Chagall offer a useful commentary into this scene. Marc Chagall's artwork seems to be colorized by the contemporary experience he had lived upon. For instance, Marc Chagall painted the scene several times throughout his life, and one of his earlier pieces, produced right after the Second World War and the death of his wife in the 1950s, depicts a very heartbreaking scene. In a scene from the 1950s, it is not colored with color, instead it is with black and white, and the faces of both the angel and of Jacob are upset. Later on, and further after the war, his artwork depicting that very same scene in the 1960s would change dramatically. In the 1960s, it would be colorful, and it would show two characters in loving embrace. But perhaps the most timely relevant artwork to this scene to us today would be the scene as it is depicted by Elisheva Ness. Elisheva Ness is an Israeli Jerusalemite artist from the post-Soviet religious community, and she drashed upon this scene in a powerful way with a modern Israeli twist. In her scene, it is a scene of a man dressed in Israeli military fatigues in uniform, and he's wearing a kippah while struggling with a winged angelic creature. To me, I'd venture to say that her piece is a commentary of religion in the Israeli Defense Forces. The struggle to be religious in the IDF is a real concern for the religious community. Also, this concern has resurfaced this week with new studies that draw attention to the community's low rate of inclusion in national service in the Army. Yet all these commentaries were born from the imagery created in our Torah portion of this week. Powerful as they are rooted in the traditions of our Torah. And may the imagery provided in our Torah portion of this week continue to inspire us. May it remind us of where we stand in this world. And may we use this story to help us affirm who we are as Jews and affirm our faith in Torah, in Judaism, and in God. Ken Yeh Ratzon. May it be God's will. Amen. In just a moment, we'll be turning our thoughts and prayers to the members of our community who are in struggling health conditions that are in need of a healing of mind, body, and or of spirit. I have a Misha Barak list that has been provided to me. After the names have been read aloud, if you would like to add any names to the list, please share with us those names so that we as one community can pray for the healing of mind, body, and or of spirit of your loved one. Today's Misha Barak list includes the following names: Ed Mitchell Wadika, Tzia Bat Margalit, Elise Souza, Suzanne Wadika, Ruth Douse, Jerry Douse, Vicky Hyatt, Bill Natras, Miriam Mendel Ben Shira, Nachman Ben Malka, Shlomo Leib Ben Malka, Alan Lewis, Alan Yokelson, Jerry Yokelson, Russ Pineri, Jeffrey Stein, Jeffrey Koffler, Aaron Evers, Claudia Schachter, Courtney Zabadek, Linda Bloom, Elaine Blitz, Linda Wilson, Rhoda Jacobs, Becky Bunnell, Linda Goteb, Sylvia Stern, Myra Levis, Evie Schneider, Dr. Sharon Anita Wander, Sonia Richmond, Susan Skavernik, Lee Benner, Fran Salewitz, Marsh Estrin, Yisrael Reuven, Bendelora Elka, Stuart Kaufman, Asher Ephraim, Bob Salewitz. Are there any additional names anyone would like to pray for a healing of mind, body, and or spirit for anyone here today? Yes.
Yvette Zamos.
Yvette Zamos.
Michael Berkovitz.
Michael Berkovitz.
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein.
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein.
Corinne Liz.
Current list. Are there any additional names? Okay. With these names in our mind and in our heart, we will now rise as the ark will be opened for the Misha Barak prayer that may be found at the back of our Siddurim. Misha Barak Avotenu Mekor Hadrecha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Barak Imotenu Mekor Habrecha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Remain standing for the Aleinu on page 30. Aleinu may be found on page 30. Aleinu l'shabeach l'idon hakol, latet yedula liotze breshit, shelo atzanu kiel aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kichol hamonam, v'inachnu korim, umishtachavim or moedim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu netchei shamayim veyoser haaretz umoshev yikaro bashamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo begovei meroimin hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efezulato kakatu v'torato v'yadata hayom v'hoshevota el avevecha ki Adonai hu Elohim bashamayim mima'al v'yal haaretz mitzachot ein od. Page 31, we'll read together. We therefore hope in you, O eternal our God, soon to behold the splendor of your might. Then will false gods vanish from the earth, and the idols will be utterly cut off to heal the world through the sovereignty of the Almighty. Then will all acclaim you as their God, and forsaking evil, turn to you alone. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend, and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, O eternal our God, let them humble themselves. To your glorious name let them give honor. Let all accept the yoke of your dominion, that you may rule over them soon and forever. For the dominion is yours, and you will rule in glory. As it is written, the eternal will reign forever and ever. Page 32. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us with the mourner's Kaddish on page 33. I'll be reciting names that have been provided to me from our yahrzeit list, as well as members of our community who have recently passed. After the names have been read aloud, I'd like to ask anyone to please share with us any additional names that they're observing a yahrzeit for. Recently passed from our community are the following names: Philip Olstein, Stanley Tobe, Steve Goldblum, Jacob George Tobel, Peter Lozama, Stan Perlman, David Schneider, Raphael Marcus, Florence Schneider, Sylvia Tannenbaum, Florence Guttmacher, Philip Moret, Bruce Lessig. Our yahrzeits for today continue with the following names: Sarah Schneider Schwartz, Eileen Goodman Benner, Lee Benner, Irving Schwerd, Sylvia Kaplan, Hyman Bodak, Lillian Raschel, Daniel Rychek, Eva Saracen, Naomi Fisher, Harold Jacobs, Jesse Schuster, Sylvia Davidoff, Arthur Lewis, Kate Salowitz, Elise Flesig, Philip Olstein, Alan Axelrod, Howard Friedman, Mildred Samotin, Irving Ginsberg, Myron Tannenbaum, Jose Cass, Benjamin Saracen. Are there any additional names anyone is observing a yahrzeit for here today or in the period of Shoshima? Stephen Rozovsky. Bill Fisher. Are there any additional names anyone is observing a yahrzeit for or in the period of Shoshima? No. If it is your custom, please rise. The words to the mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 33. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma divrach hirutei v'yemnich malchutei b'chayechon v'yoymechon u'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman koriv v'imru amen Yahei Shmei Rabbah mivorak li'olam u'lamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shamei Kurashah Berechu Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Damiran V'Alma V'Imru Amen Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shamayim V'Chaim Aleinu V'El Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen Oseh Shalom Yiramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated, and now we have some brief but uplifting announcements. Marilyn's going to lead us in them. Thank you.
One of these days, I'm just going to refuse because they're not that uplifting. I don't know how many saw this morning's email, but there's a new publication. It's called J-Life. It's an online publication. The Federation brought it here to New Jersey from a publisher who does this for the Jewish community in California. Anyway, so their first online magazine for the month of December was published, and we have a write-up on page 38. So the link is in the email if you want to take a look at it. And then you can sign up for their emails and check it out monthly. Havdalah and game night, we just had our first one on December 3rd. It was a lot of fun. And the next one is on January 7th, Saturday night. And then on December 18th, Sunday at 4:30 p.m., the rabbi, along with the Helmeto community, will be lighting their menorah. That's at 4:30 p.m. At the Borough Hall. It's open to non-Helmeto residents also. Sabrina Singer is starting her bat mitzvah project. She's going to be putting together birthday cake boxes for people in need, which was very interesting. There's a picture in this weekly email. Anyway, so she's collecting baking items in the lobby, and then she will actually be doing a bake sale on Hanukkah evening to raise money to help her purchase additional items that she needs. The Hanukkah service and dinner is on Friday, December 23rd. Services at 6:30, dinner will follow kosher Chinese. There's still time to sign up for dinner. This is the last week to do it though. Yeah. And sorry. Bring your menorahs and your candles to the service because we'll light them together. And Sisterhood is having a ladies' evening out Hanukkah party. So even if you're not a member of Sisterhood, welcome to join us. On Tuesday, December 20th at 6:30 p.m., we'll have a potluck dinner and then a $20 gift swap game. And that's it, except the blood drive. Save the day for the blood drive in February, but that's a while off. And there's a social action meeting on Wednesday evening, December 14th. Don't forget that, otherwise I get emails. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. All right, we're now going to join together on page 34 for Adon Olam, page 34. Oh, and once again, do come out if you can to the menorah lighting that we'll be having in Helmet. It's going to be really nice, and I know that Township of Monroe actually have it not on Hanukkah, their menorah lighting this year, so we're going to actually be doing it on actual Hanukkah. First night of Hanukkah is going to be really nice, so I'm looking forward to it. So please join us for it if you're able to, okay? Good. All right. Adon Olam, page 34. Page 34. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'eit nasa v'chezo kol azai melech shamo nikra v'yachad reikit lo takol livado imoch naira Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yia b'tif ara, vehu echad v'yein sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira, v'li reshi, v'li tachli, v'lo ha'oz v'hamizra, vehu eli v'chai goali. V'tzor chevli v'yeit sara v'unisi umanosli menat kosi v'yom ekra b'yado afkid ruchi v'yeit ishan mi'aira v'im ruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira. Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos. Shabbat shalom. Steve, would you like to lead us in? All right. Sold. All right. See everyone next week, and good Shabbos once again.